Hello and welcome to another video in my avatar series. Today we're going to be adding clothing to an avatar. Keep in mind though that this clothing is meant for the avatar that we're using it with, so that means if you have clothing that you're trying to adjust to an avatar, this is not the correct video for you. But if you are trying to add things to a specific avatar, then you're in the right place. Without any further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, welcome to Unity. So now that we're here, the first thing you're actually going to want to do is you're going to want to download this apply_accessories.unity package. I have it linked in the description, so it's super simple. You just go to the web page and you download apply_accessories.unity package. And so I'm actually going to go ahead here and import all of the Unity packages for the accessories I'm going to be applying today. That being said, you may not necessarily have a Unity package. You might just get something like an FBX and some textures, in which case you're just going to want to import those as normal. Alright, now that that's imported, you're actually going to want to go to the scene with your avatar in it. So you're going to want to go to the folder that you imported that has your avatar in it, and most of you guys probably already have that set up, and you're going to want to double click that scene so you have your avatar as such. And so now that you have that, you're actually going to want to go to the clothing that you want to import, and you're going to want to just drag and drop your FBX or your prefab in here, and you'll see it appear like this. Now, this is essentially where things usually get pretty hard, but since I have a neat little script attached, it should be relatively easy to go forwards from here. Alright, so now that you're here, you're going to want to select the prefab or the FBX to which your where all of your stuff is under. So it should have something like an armature, and you also want to have your accessories. It's fine if there's multiple, it should be fine either way. So now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add a component. You're going to want to search for apply accessories. And once you have it added, you should see something like this. Alright. So you'll notice that there's actually quite a bit here, and most of it is actually labeled optional, and that's because it really depends on the model that you're using. So in this case, for example, we definitely need to add our avatar descriptor, and so that should be on your base avatar. So you see where we have the VRChat avatar descriptor. Make sure that's on the game object that you're using, and you can just drag and drop that right in there. Cool, so now that we have our avatar descriptor attached to this, we can basically, just set it as is. That being said, if we do set it, essentially it will always be on. So we'll just do that real quick and you'll see that it works. And so now our thing disappears there on the left-hand side, and you'll see it's attached to our Nardo Dragon here. And so if we go in here and let's say that we move the left shoulder here a bit just to show that it works, you'll see that everything sort of goes as expected and everything is attached properly. Of course, there are some minor things that you might still have to do. Like you'll see that this elbow fluff here is sort of showing out. So you're actually going to want to go in here onto your body, and you're going to want to go under Blendshapes, and you're going to want to adjust that blend shape manually so that it is gone. And so most of the time, if you have like clothing and whatnot that is meant for a specific avatar, the avatar will either already have these blend shapes for it, or the person that published the clothing or whatnot has a Discord server or something where they have a special version of the original avatar that might have this attached to it. Or something of that like. But most of the time it's already an option on the original avatar. Awesome. So that's how easy it is to actually add your clothing onto your avatar. But there are some more difficult steps. So I'm actually going to, I re-added in the leather jacket here, and I'm going to put back my apply accessory script here. I'm going to refill things in. We're actually going to go through some of the more optional menus here. And so we're actually going to start with what we just covered, which was the elbow fluff. And basically you're going to want to go down all here to this thing called Set Associated Mesh Renderers, optional. And so sometimes you'll notice that clothing interferes either with your avatar in some ways or with other clothing sets. So you might want to actually set some blend shapes, like we just did there manually by going onto the body and setting that blend shape. Now you can actually do this via animations, in fact, everything in these VRChat menus and stuff is driven by animations. So we're actually going to want to add that hide elbow fluff in here. So we are going to set this set associated mesh renders here to 1. So we'll have a length of 1, and that is because we want to modify the body mesh whenever we enable or disable the clothing items. And so now that we have that here, you'll see that this is labeled mesh renderer number 1, and we get an option down here for blend shapes for mesh renderer number 1. So you're actually going to want to go ahead and type in 1 here. And now that you have 1 typed in there, we can actually put in the name of the blend shape, which in this case was hide elbow fluff. In order to add a menu, you're going to want to look for menu down here. And basically, you should get a bunch of options that have this sort of cube with curly braces on it. And these are all of the VRChat menus. So you will either need to create a menu or already have one available. And so we're actually just going to choose one of these here. So you'll notice we'll choose this customization submenu. And so the menus in VRChat can have a maximum of 8 controls. And so that can be like a toggle or like changing a number or something like that. And in this case, for the leather jacket here, it's just going to be 2 toggled, which is 1 for the leather jacket and 1 for the t-shirt. And you'll actually notice that this customization submenu is perfect for this because we actually have 2 controls left. So we have filled 6 out of our 8 slots, so we can actually use this one. So just go back here and drag and drop that submenu in right there. All right, sometimes when you apply your accessories, you notice that something might look a bit off, and that is because sometimes the bones that are used for the actual clothing are a bit off from the positioning of the bones that are used for the actual avatar / model. If that is the case and you notice some clipping and whatnot, you may want to use Nest Armature, but other than that, try not to use it. And essentially, this already covers most things, so it'll try and merge all the bones into one. That way you don't have too many bones because VRChat doesn't really like having too many bones around. And also, it transfers over any sort of dynamic bones and whatnot that might be on your clothing. And if there's extra bones that aren't in your original avatar, it will still actually go ahead and put those in. Also, I added this just in case there's weird names and whatnot. Usually I'll always be looking for a capitalized armature to use as the armature, and I am assuming that there's only 1 bone under that armature. So in the case that that is not the case, you're going to have to select the armature here, which you can just do by dragging and dropping into there, and select the root bone and drag and drop it into there. Last but not least, I actually have here a very specific one for female blend shapes. If your avatar can change genders and whatnot, then you may want to use this. So what you're actually going to want to do is you're going to want to go back into your project and you're going to want to search for like female or something, and you'll probably see a motion sort of animation clip right here. And so you can actually drag and drop that in there. And so now that we have that selected, we're actually going to want to go onto one of our accessories here and look into the blend shapes, and you'll see here that there is a label called female all. And so we can actually just take this value and type it in here just like we did with the hide elbow fluff, and that should work with no problems. All right, cool. So now we have put in everything as we wanted to. So now you can actually just go ahead and press apply changes. It'll go for a bit and you'll see that everything is in there. Don't be alarmed that you no longer see the actual accessories. They have been hidden because by default in VRChat they're hidden, and then you can turn them on, if you want to. All right, so we're actually going to do one last thing. So you can actually drag and drop. We're actually going to use this here because you'll see that this this clothing set doesn't actually have the bones aligned correctly, but this this script actually fixes that. So what you're going to do is I'm just going to put this script on here, and I'm going to go through the setup of putting in all of my information, which is in this case just this avatar descriptor. So in order to create a new menu, so let's actually look for where our menus are stored on our avatar. It'll typically be in the same folder. So in this case, I can go through here, click on animations, and click on submenus, and you'll see that all of my menus are in here. This will obviously vary between avatars, but the menus should be somewhere in the same place. So we're actually just going to create a new menu here. So just right click, create, VRChat, avatars, and expressions menu. And you will have created an expressions menu. So we're just going to call this the armor menu. And now we have an armor menu. So what you can actually do here is you can ignore all the add controlled stuff and whatnot because that is done for you. But you will need to be referencing this menu somewhere else. So we're actually going to go out of here, and you're going to want to go into any menu where you want to navigate into this menu. So in this case, we're going to go into the top level menu, and you're going to want to add a control. And once again, this could realistically be anywhere, anywhere you want to. And so once you add a new control, you're going to want to take this type, and you're going to want to select submenu, and you're going to want to click on that sort of circle next to it, and you're going to want to select the menu that you just made, which is the armor menu. And I'm actually going to go ahead here and call it armor as well. And so now that we've done that, I can actually go back on here and I can select the armor menu here. So I can just do that. And now I have selected the armor menu. And this is actually quite important because you'll see here that we have a lot of different meshes. In fact, we have 8 different ones. And so that is the maximum that you'll be able to handle on one of these. That being said, if you have even more meshes than that, you can actually unpack the prefab and put these in separate folders with the armature. You're going to want to copy and paste them in between, and then you can apply them all separately. However, in fact, I recommend going to Blender and maybe merging some of these meshes, and I will be doing a tutorial on that later. But anyways, now that you've sort of have everything set up here, all you're going to have to do is hit apply changes, and you'll see that everything is in here. But even better than that, if we actually like enable all the different ones, you'll see that the arms and everything are actually in the correct place now because the bones are matched up properly. All right, so I'm just going to quickly make a test build of this, and then we're going to hop straight into VRChat. Also, one more quick thing, make sure to delete the script before you build and test. This can lead to issues otherwise. So if you see any extra prefabs or whatnot in there, or it gives you any errors, make sure you delete the script. Alright, hello and welcome to VRChat. So we're actually going to put on the clothing now. I'm going to start off with just the armor, because that is the bit more complex one in this case in terms of setting everything up. If you open up your menu, I mean, you can't see it right now, you'll see that there's actually 8 different things that you can trigger. One for each one of those armor pieces that you set up earlier. You'll see once I trigger them all, they all turn on and everything works sort of as expected. There's tiny bits sort of coming out here that I probably still need to fix, but for the most part, everything is set up quite nicely. I also intend on, putting in updates to this script, and I might add in sort of an update to merge all these together into one toggle if you feel like it. But for now, I'm actually going to turn these off, and I'm going to try on the jacket. So I will go to the correct submenu, and I will turn on the leather jacket and the shirt. You'll see everything works as expected, including that the elbow fluff is gone. I turned that off in the Blendshapes, and it is now off in game. And I'm actually going to do one more thing, and that is I can change and turn on the female toggle, and you'll see that that also works as expected. So with that sort of in mind, you should be able to use all of the clothing and set it up really easily, really quickly with just that script. And once again, if you're looking for updates, make sure just to check out the release page, and I'll be posting updates there as they come in. But yeah, thanks for watching the video, and that's all.